Roll Tide to you. Roll Tide to you. Welcome back to Tight Sports. Did you see the score to the miserable Cotton Bowl? Oh my goodness. I'm watching it right now. I'm at halftime, and I want to snatch the hair off the side of my face. This is painful to watch, folks. But what was even more painful was watching Jalen Milroe have to deal with some negative comments said by coaches directly and indirectly to his face. Some mess on top of some mess, but I'm just going to get right to the video. Dakich breaks it down, and I'll give a few comments on the other side.
Harbaugh, is this his last game? I don't know, and nor do I care. But what I am excited about is the Monday game against Alabama. And I got to tell you something else. You know who else is excited about it? Jalen Milroe, the quarterback of Alabama, is fired up. He's been disrespected. The latest? Well, Jim Harbaugh thinks so little of Jalen Milroe that he is comparing Jalen Milroe to, well, not Joe Montana, and not Patrick Mahomes, not even Joe Flacco. He's comparing him to a guy, and I'm going to read this right, Alex Orgy. Not an orgy of that kind, you freaks, but O-R-J-I, not O-R-G-Y, you freaks out there. I know what you're thinking, Gritty, and the rest of you guys. Stop with that. But anyway, Alex Orgy is the third string, fourth string, fifth string, whatever string quarterback who in his entire career at Michigan has thrown one pass. He is an athlete, apparently. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is who Jim Harbaugh compared Jalen Hurts. Now let's go through this. 2,720 yards with 23 touchdowns is what Jalen Hurts has thrown for. 693 yards rushing, 12 rushing touchdown. Alex, not that kind of orgy, has thrown one pass in 2 seasons. He has rushed the ball 17 times for 106 yards, and that's how little Jim Harbaugh thinks of, well, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, here's what Harbaugh had to say. He's like a real polished Alex Orgy. The athletic skill set, playmaking ability, just the ability to extend plays, make plays is really the volume of the work and how it's progressed is really impressive. I keep saying Jalen Hurts, but it's Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe, who I really like. I've told you, he is the fastest through-the-line quarterback maybe that I've ever seen, and I'm excited to watch this. Well, Jalen Milroe, not Hurts, had something to say about it. Here it is.
Shoot, all my life, even when I was in college. Shoot, my own offensive coordinator, Bill O'Brien, told me I shouldn't play quarterback. So, there's a lot of things I can have motivation on, and that is something I have motivation from.
What was your reaction to Bill O'Brien telling you that you shouldn't play quarterback? Do you remember how you felt when he said that?
How would you feel if I told you you suck?
Probably wouldn't like it.
Okay then, so that's exactly how I felt, you know what I'm saying? So biggest thing for me, be true to myself and, stay the same. Nothing changed about me. Only thing that changed me was I had the opportunity and I seized it. And so for me, the biggest thing was just stay true to myself and, add a bigger purpose to anyone's opinion.
Is there a position he wanted you to play or said you should be this position or that position, or he just... He told me a bunch of business I could have switched to, but look where I'm at right now. So, you know what I'm saying? So who gets the last laugh?
Harbaugh, sir, you are
mischievous and deceitful.
That's what you are.
Chicanerous and deplorable.
Man, what in the world made this man come out and disrespect this man, compared him to somebody who don't even play? He's played less than 20 snaps in the whole year. Just crazy.
He is 24. Warren Moon will be a quarterback.
And I use this video footage because I don't want to get into my internal gut feelings about what I would like to say about Bill O'Brien. But thank you, sir, for taking us back 30 or 40, 50, maybe even, probably only just about 50 years in college sports. But to keep from getting into the cesspool you live in, I'll just look over these clips of the great Warren Moon playing his last game before he shipped off to Canada because people wanted him to play defensive back in the NFL. I'm sorry, Hall of Famer Warren Moon. There's a great look at the old Bo Schembechler. But let's get back to the Rose Bowl that's going to happen on Monday. And I want to listen to the Ruffino and Joe show where they give some great facts about both teams.
What are your keys to victory for Alabama in the Rose Bowl?
I think the big piece here for Alabama is not overthinking the approach for the game. I think that what has helped them win in this final stretch is that they've stuck to the game plan. They have stayed consistent on the offensive and defensive side of the football. Running Jalen Milroe more, design quarterback runs, the read option game that they've had going, and then the ability to open up the passing game by attacking teams over the top. When they've tried to get too cute at times this year, it has led to Jalen Milroe making mistakes. And they can't go down that path because we've seen how backbreaking at times that can be for Alabama. They cannot be in a position where their defense has to bail them out. They're a really good defense, but this Michigan team is strong enough and proficient enough and athletic enough that if they're constantly bailing them out after a couple of mistakes, they are going to get burnt out by the end of that football game. So the big thing for me is play your style of football. Do not overthink it. And we know that Nick Saban and Alabama are notorious for doing that. They're not going to stoop to their opponent's level. We just have to hope that Tommy Rees doesn't get caught in the spotlight.
It's interesting that you ended it with Tommy Rees getting caught in the spotlight because, I do think that this – look, he's been – if I'm not mistaken, you can correct me. He was on that Brian Kelly staff in 20 when they made the playoff, was he not?
I believe he was the offensive coordinator. Let me double check.
Okay, but regardless, I mean, this is he's. I guess my argument would be there, Joe, is that he's been around it. Like he was on the staff when it happened. Regardless, even if he was not calling plays, he was with Notre Dame. I actually, believe it or not, you talked about we argue all the time. I think we actually 1,000% agree with this one. I just think you just got to be yourself if you're Alabama. Do exactly what it is that you do. Tough, hard-nosed, win at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. Like you mentioned, get Jalen Milroe out on the edge and let him run a little bit. But I got to tell you something that I will continue to say about Michigan. Joe, when we talked about this Michigan versus Maryland a couple of weeks ago, I said, I told you it was about key to victory for Maryland. I was like, Joe, they're going to win one-on-one battles on the outside. I don't know if Michigan has the corners on the boundary that can win consistently.
And that's a great point because everybody talks about, Milroe can't throw across the middle. He won't throw across the middle with 5 people standing there. He likes to throw outside of the hash and down the field. And he got a couple of short passes that turn into big passes because they got playmakers. Well, guess what? We're bringing those same people to the game. And he probably still won't throw across the middle. But can your corners cover deep? And that's a question Michigan has to answer. While this conversation has been pretty harmonious, they've been agreeable thus far, things just take a swing in a different direction. Must be something in there.
I actually disagree that I think Alabama's offensive line has improved tremendously. So I actually will agree with you that their offensive line is better than Michigan's offensive line. And the way that J.C. Latham has taken a huge step forward after a little bit of a shaky start to the season.
Even
Proctor, yeah.
Proctor's taking a massive step, the freshman from Iowa.
But my pushback, though, I think that this Michigan defensive line and this front seven has won them football games. I think that in any instance where they've been sloppy on the offensive end of the football, that is what has won them games, because not only have they taken away the run game against Ohio State and against Penn State, those are the two games that we can only really pull from because they didn't play anyone else that was truly that competitive, but they still kicked the living shit out of all of those low-level Big Ten teams that they played against. They dominated the line of scrimmage and stopped the run, and they got after Kyle McCord and Drew Allard that led to some of those mistakes that opened up the game that set them up to win. So I know I'm not setting us up here to talk about Michigan just yet, but I don't think that it's a foregone conclusion that Alabama's front seven is so much better than Michigan's.
Let me counteract that on why you said you disagreed. Joe, Kyle McCord and Drew Allard are not Jalen Milroe, and they have not seen a better quarterback than Jalen Milroe this year. They're going to
seen a more athletic quarterback than Jalen.
No, Joe. Even overall, they have not seen a better quarterback, throwing or running. Jalen Milroe has better statistics than J.J. McCarthy does. He's had better moments than Kyle McCord. Like, Joe, this isn't debatable. Like, did you see the kid against Georgia? Because I sure as hell did. And you know what else I saw? I saw that Joe, are you going to sit here and try to convince me that Georgia's defensive line's not better than Michigan's? You going to say that?
I actually think that the Michigan's defensive line it's got a 2 deep rotation. It is a 2 deep rotation. Their linebackers are also better than Georgia's in the current state that they face.
I will give you the backers. Okay, I'm not going to disagree with you there. Joe, they're looking good against Rudy Poo Tech and Rudy Poo State.
Okay, of course that they look. Their performance looks a little bit inflated against some pretty bad Big Ten teams. What happened? Kicking the shit out of people is kicking the shit out of people.
No,
they didn't show any signs of weakness.
Yes, because I also saw Ohio State at times push them around a little bit. So you're acting like they didn't score 24 points. You're acting as if they
for a team that has 2 first round wide receivers. That's pretty good to hold them to 24 points.
Sure. Okay. Cute. You really think in what you saw them do to Georgia that they're just going to pussyfoot around?
No, that's not what I'm saying. But I look.
And how was and we talked about this. Jalen Milroe down the stretch against the best you have made the assumption along with myself. What's been the best secondary this year in your eyes? It's been Georgia. What did Jalen Milroe do to him?
He played a good game, but I'm not going to sit here and say that he made some ridiculous.
What did he do down the stretch?
Jalen Milroe's legs were what helped them win that football game because they didn't have anyone who could play the stretch.
He went. Remember Isaiah Bond going stupid and who's throwing in the football?
He made good throws and he had a really good game, but arguably that's not even statistically his best passing game. That was his best rushing game, and that feeds into what we're talking about here. Why, if Alabama wins, it's going to be because of him continuing to impact the game as a passer. That is what's going to win them the football game. As a runner. What is going to win them the football game is if he goes off as a runner the way that he did against Georgia.
They ain't seen the green grass athletes like this, dog. I'm sorry. They haven't. I've seen Alabama all year long, everybody and their mama saying that they cannot go up against this team. They couldn't beat Georgia. Tennessee's front seven, who, by the way, was really good. Okay? Oh, well, Tennessee's going to get after them. Joe, are you about to argue me right now with what you know, and I know that you do draft stuff. Did you tell me I'm wrong? Texas A&M's defensive line has 3 first-round picks on it. We're going to talk about one of them who transferred to Ole Miss.
Yes.
Okay, they pushed them around in the fourth quarter. The third and fourth quarter, Alabama imposed their will. They are not, from a prospect standpoint, better, and you're going to have to admit this, they're not better than A&M.
Boy, this is how me and my boys get down. He got this man up in the corner, and he ain't giving him nothing but gut punches, and then he about to come across the top of his head with some facts and make him confirm that fact.
You're saying Michigan's not better than A&M?
No, Joe. Again, you have 3, potentially 4 first-round picks that started along that offensive line, and they are defensive line. Then I saw you today or yesterday. Y'all started talking about Edgerrin Cooper, Covington, Louisiana, stand up, about him being one of the best linebackers in this class. Joe, they have faced defenses with better overall prospects from top to bottom.
Wait. I understand what you're trying to bring. I understand what you're trying to bring up here, but. Are we not forgetting how close that Texas A&M game was and how Texas A&M blew it because of Jimbo's poor decision-making at the end of that game? That had nothing to do with the defense.
They also had a block kick that got called back. They also had 2 touchdowns that got called back.
If I remember correctly, Texas A&M did a pretty good job of stepping up against Alabama.
It was like within a 1-score game. Alabama got the block kick that got returned.
I'm trying to pull it. Okay, Texas A&M held them to 26 points in that game.
Yeah, 26-20, was it not?
Jalen Milroe threw 1 interception, and he
how many passing yards he had?
He had 321, but he ran for negative 30. He ran for negative 31 yards. And I'd love to just quickly pull up how many sacks there were. Edgerrin Cooper had 3 sacks in that game. Walter Nolan had 1.
Inflated. His rushing stats are inflated.
And my point is I actually think that you're bringing it. I love how we managed to turn a segment that was supposed to be how can one team win, and now we're just sitting here yelling at each other about it. Look, final thought on this before we get to Michigan, because I would like to talk about Michigan and kind of pivot this so it makes a little bit more sense for the continuity of the show. My point is that a poor coaching job by Texas A&M offensively kept them from winning that football game. But that's the script to beating Jalen Milroe. You know, let's roll right into Michigan.
So you mean to tell me that J.J. McCarthy can't go into a playoff game and throw pick sixes and underperform? Oh, wait, you mean like he did last year against TCU?
Wow, burn. Burn. What a debate. He had him up in the corner. He was taking him out with body shot. And then he hit him right across the top of the head. It was wonderful. This is the same thing I've been saying, man. These guys have been playing against Rudy Poo State. You know what I'm saying? Has Alabama been slow in the first quarter? Yep. But look at them second half adjustments. I don't even think we will have a slow quarter. Not a whole quarter, maybe a half. Been practicing for 4 weeks. We've been up against teams with more versatile offenses, more dynamic offenses, and some really good defenses in the SEC, just in case you don't know. And I feel this Bill O'Brien rant laced with cuss words all over the place boiling up in me. But to keep from doing that, I just want to remind you who the player of the game was for the 1978, I think, Rose Bowl clip, and I'll just close this thing out after that.
Last time out, the player of the game, chosen by the Citizen Saving Hall Board, Warren Moon, the quarterback of Washington, who scored 2 touchdowns in the first half and led his team into a 27-7 lead.
Unfortunately, Warren Moon went through a lot, but he is now NFL Hall of Fame quarterback Warren Moon. You can do it, Jalen. And always remember, roll, tide, roll.